Hey everyone, Brandon Lee here with VirtualizationHowto, and today we're talking about something that I think is one of the easiest ways to level up your home lab fast, and that is running the right Docker containers. Over the years, I have built, broken, and rebuilt countless home lab environments, and I have found that a pattern always emerges. There are a handful of Docker containers that instantly make your setup better, more efficient, easier to monitor, and much simpler to manage. These are the containers that I keep coming back to, especially in late 2025. And the chances are, once you start using them yourself, they will become a permanent part of your home lab too. So stick around and let's dive in and get started. I also want to share with you a chance to win a soon-to-be disclosed prize that I will give away to someone who shares their current home lab setup in 2025. What have you changed this year? What have you added? What have you taken out? Where do you see your home lab going in 2026? Be sure to share your home lab on the VHT forum link that I will post in the description for this video. So be sure to check that out for more details. I want to start with Dozzle because Dozzle is one of those containers that just feels almost magical once you use it. If you've ever SSH'd into a Docker host and run Docker logs -f over and over and over again just to troubleshoot what is happening inside your containers, Dozzle is going to save you a ton of time. It gives you a simple, clean web interface where you can see real-time logs from all of your containers in one place. When you are troubleshooting or you just want to keep an eye on what your services are doing, Dozzle is a Docker container that becomes a must-have dashboard for quick access and visibility to all of your Docker logs. Next up is Watchtower. If you are busy or you tend to build up a lot of containers in your home lab, Watchtower is one of the easiest ways to automate your container updates. So it monitors your running containers, it checks for updated images, and it automatically pulls those updated images and restarts your current containers with the newest images with the same configuration. And that's the key. Instead of manually updating those stacks or running Docker pull all of the time manually, you can let Watchtower handle those updates for you in the middle of the night. For home labs with lots of services, this keeps everything patched and up to date with almost no effort on your part. Now, I want to make this disclaimer about Watchtower, and I've had this noted in the blog post. Watchtower is a stale project. I've just used it so long that I'm comfortable with it and familiar with it. Do check out and do your own research here with Watchtower. There are actually a lot of good forks of this tool, and there are also alternatives out there. Pulse is a newer tool, but it's one that I'm absolutely loving because it combines Docker and Proxmox monitoring into one lightweight solution. I've always been frustrated. I would find a really good Proxmox monitor, but then it doesn't do Docker monitoring or vice versa. It monitors Docker, but not Proxmox. So that combination makes Pulse a really great tool. It tracks the health and performance of your Proxmox environment and your Docker hosts, and you can also configure it to send alerts to modern notification systems. I love that it is especially built for home lab environments that are running both Docker and Proxmox, which I think at this point is just about everyone that loves the open source community. It is simple to deploy and it gives you a single place to keep an eye on your infrastructure stack. Another tool that you should really try out is Komodo. Komodo is becoming one of the best, if not arguably the best, all-in-one tool for Docker management if you love a GUI. Think of it like an alternative to Portainer, but with more of a focus on logs, metrics, traces, and observability. It helps you quickly identify performance issues or container problems in a way that feels almost like an enterprise-grade tool, but it's especially built for your home lab. anyone running applications or microservices, Komodo makes managing these much, much easier. And also it has a lot of great automation tooling and CI/CD type tooling built right into the platform. Now, Netdata is one of those install it once and forget it tools that instantly gives you a full monitoring dashboard. You can run the Netdata agent in a Docker container. With that, you get real-time visibility and insights into things like CPU, memory, disks, networking, and your Docker container. So once you install the Netdata Docker container on a Docker host, then it opens up the visibility for all of the Docker metrics on that particular host. Now, also you get a cloud console that gives you a one-liner install of this tool, and that makes the whole process very effortless, I think. They have a free tier, and then also for a home lab license for $99 a year, which I think is a tremendous value, you get unlimited agents that you can connect to their cloud console. So the alerting works with almost zero config right out of the box. And I really think it's one of the best monitoring tools that is zero touch out there. Just install it and you automatically start getting monitoring and notifications. Uptime Kuma is an oldie, but it is still one of the very first containers that I recommend to anyone starting out because it gives you that immediate visibility into whether services are up or down. You can monitor the performance metrics of various services, but Uptime Kuma allows you to get that simple, is it up or is it down notification. Now it tracks things like websites, containers, and other endpoints, and it can send alerts when something for those endpoints breaks. And the status pages look like something that you would see from a major SaaS provider. And that's one thing that I really like about it. And it's an extremely useful tool if you want to stop guessing about services, whether those are up and running or not. Bitwarden is next on our list. And when it comes to password management, I think this is really the one that is recommended or that I would recommend for self-hosting. The Community Edition runs great in Docker, and it gives you a fully private enterprise-grade password vault for all of your passwords, API keys, secrets, and home lab credentials. So instead of handing your data off to a cloud password manager or a cloud password service provider, you can keep full control of all of your sensitive credentials and data and run all of those things locally. Now, Homer is another container that adds a lot of quality of life improvements, especially once you have those handful of containers or self-hosted apps running in your home lab. Homer lets you create basically a start page for your entire home lab. And with that, you get visual cards, you get icons and links that you can set up and configure for all of your services. And then it's all YAML based. So you've got basically an easy way to store that as code. It's fully customizable, and it's perfect, I think, for keeping everything organized into one place. And again, you can check all of your configuration into a Git repo. Mailrise is a super interesting container that I think for me still solves a super old problem. Many legacy devices like switches or smaller appliances, those can only send alerts through to SMTP servers. What if you want to make use of a modern notification system? Well, Mailrise steps in. It translates that SMTP traffic and it forwards it to a modern notification services using the Apprise framework. I use this in the home lab to get alerting from all of my devices as well as other containerized solutions that run, and it works flawlessly. I can translate those SMTP requests into any modern notification supported by that Apprise framework. Now, NetBox is one of the most powerful tools on this list when it comes to network documentation and being that single source of truth. It started as an internal project at DigitalOcean and has become a gold standard for infrastructure resource modeling. So if you need to document things like VLANs, IP addresses, racks, devices, and all of those relationships and connections in your home lab, NetBox becomes your single source of truth once again. And you can even integrate it with things like Ansible and Terraform and use all of those solutions in an automated way to fully document and automate your home lab network. Now, next is Nginx Proxy Manager, and it's still one of the best reverse proxies, I think, for beginners and home lab enthusiasts. It lets you route traffic to Docker containers, and it automatically handles your Let's Encrypt certificates for your HTTPS connections. If you want a clean and simple way to expose services internally or externally with proper SSL termination, this is one of the easiest ways to get started. phpIPAM is the IP address management solution that I personally use in my home lab to keep up with all of the IP addresses, subnets, VLANs, all of those types of things. And it's closely related to NetBox. So when you run multiple VLANs and networks at home, things can get messy very quickly. phpIPAM lets you keep track of all of those various pieces of information, and it integrates neatly with DHCP and DNS tools. It's easy to deploy with Docker, and I know it has become a core component of my home lab network. Duplicati is one of my favorite tools for backing up Docker volumes. It's simple, it's reliable, and it supports encrypted incremental backups. And you can even store your backups on local storage, NAS devices, cloud buckets like Backblaze or S3 or S3 compatible storage, which is pretty much anywhere these days. And it makes it easy to schedule backups of your Docker container volumes and its data. Pi-hole is a Docker container that needs no introduction. Running Pi-hole in Docker allows you to have instant DNS level ad blocking, telemetry filtering, and malware protection. And if you combine it with an unbound DNS server and you have a self-contained DNS stack, that speeds up browsing and it gives you visibility into all of the DNS activity that is happening on your network. So that control of that very critical core service of name resolution is extremely powerful, and I highly recommend Pi-hole in the home lab environment. Finally, Gitea. It's a tool that I recommend if you want to learn Git or start building a proper DevOps workflow in your home lab. It looks and behaves almost exactly like GitHub, and you can integrate it with Drone CI or another CI solution to have full CI/CD pipeline capabilities. It spins up easily in Docker and allows you to self-host your own repositories, mirror GitHub repos, and build automation around your code. And Gitea is also working on native CI/CD pipeline capabilities right out of the box. So if you want to just stick with native Gitea, then they are certainly adding more and more of those features and capabilities out of the box. When you start putting these containers together, you're going to begin to see how they form an entire ecosystem that will support your home lab learning and infrastructure. Tools like NetBox and phpIPAM help you organize and manage your network. Nginx Proxy Manager, it routes and secures traffic and manages those SSL certificates for you. Netdata and Uptime Kuma, those give you visibility and monitoring. Duplicati protects your data. Bitwarden stores your secrets. Gitea versions your code. Homer becomes the visual front end. And tools like Komodo, Pulse, and Dozzle help you to manage everything behind the scenes. So it's not about one magical Docker container that just does it all or solves all of your problems, but in my opinion, it's about the combination of the right ones working together that instantly makes your home lab better. Well, these are the solutions that I personally rely on and continue exploring and improving. I hope this list gives you new ideas, or it helps you discover something perhaps that you haven't tried yet. If you found this video helpful, please do let me know in the comments, and be sure to subscribe for more home lab, virtualization, and Docker content. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.